Growing up, Girl Guides was the one time a week I actually felt like myself. Wednesday after dinner, I walked to the United Church at the top of our street, and I unmasked the unafraid, unmaintained class clown version of myself, which I kept buried around my classmates and the boys. Because around those girls, I could be anything. Held in both the large cedar basement and the carpeted upstairs of the church, weirdly, it really was something like religion. A community united, the 145th Division, sisters in uniform. Guiding was started in Canada in the early 1900s by Lady Mary Pallet, the wife of Sir Henry Pallet, who built and lived in Casaloma, which now remains perched up on the hill above this city, looking down on those of us who cannot afford a ticket. Guiding started as a program to make girls fit for the world, to make us good citizens like Boy Scouts, but with a feminine touch. Not fighters, but good-natured girls. I remember going to Camp McKeewa every winter, making up stories about how our leader was in a romantic relationship with a no-frills cashier we saw one time. A joke which was started by my friend and caught on pretty quickly, reenacted each term through our post-camp skits, something like tradition. I was often the lead man myself, carrying my best friend in my arms like she was my lover. Yes, we roasted marshmallows and sang songs, and yes, we made bracelets and crafts and shared secrets and whispers from our bunks, our giggles a little too loud on some nights, but it was more than that. Home. I first learned the history of Indigenous peoples in Canada a few years after I started guiding. We read aloud from our grade 3 textbook in class, paragraph by paragraph, one at a time, seated in a circle and waiting, underlying the verses with our fingers when it was our turn to speak. This was around 2011, in suburban Toronto, a stolen land. Though we didn't learn about that part, at least not for a few more years, but it was always there. You just had to look. Now, 8 years after I stopped being a girl guide when I was 12, I look back on these photographs and evidence and I wonder, what was it all for? Every week we would recite our promise and our law, raising 3 fingers to the sky and 1 to our heart like a prayer, a commitment to ourselves and to others, to Canada. It really was a religion, wasn't it? Even if I didn't want it to be. Did you know that tobogganing was an Indigenous invention before it was ours, before we took everything? Did you know that Girl Guides was part of the residential school system? That Indigenous girls and boys were forced to take part in it as an after-school activity? I didn't, but now I do. Now I do. Girl Guides taught me a lot of things, but it never taught me this. It taught me to share and be a friend, to be respectful and honest and trustworthy, to love, to give, that maybe I could thrive in this world if I tried, but still it never taught me about this. Or maybe it did in its own way. Maybe there were signs, but maybe I was a child and too young to notice them, or maybe I just didn't. Because underneath all these words of should-bes, they were trying to teach us how to act, what a good Canadian girl looks like, who she is, what she is supposed to want and dream and desire. Beneath all our smiles and rainbows and games, beneath all my childhood dreams, and for some of us, our queer ones too, there was a message, and it was this: sisterhood. Protect the sisterhood. The capital S sisterhood, the signs we didn't notice but do but don't, everywhere, all the time. How are we all complicit in this ongoing genocide?